To be is to do. Freedom is the opposite of necessity. Ingratitude is the essence of vileness. Art is purposiveness without purpose. If the truth shall kill them, let them die. The hand is the visible part of the brain. Woman wants control. Man, self-control. Look closely, the beautiful may be small. Prudence reproaches, conscience accuses. Freedom is a property of all rational beings. The death of dogma is the birth of morality. Dignity is a value that creates irreplaceability. Give me matter, and I will build a world out of it. The great mass of people are worthy of our respect. He who would know the world must first manufacture it. I had to deny knowledge in order to make room for faith. An action to have moral worth must be done from duty. Man must be disciplined, for he is by nature raw and wild. Better the whole people perish than that injustice be done. Never wish to see a just cause defended with unjust means. Dare to know. Have the courage to use your own intelligence, but only he who himself enlightened is not afraid of shadows. Religion is the recognition of all our duties as divine commands. Every beginning is in time, and every limit of extension in space. All so-called moral interest consists simply in respect for the law. We are not rich by what we possess, but by what we can do without. By a lie a man throws away, and as it annihilates his dignity as a man, human beings are never to be treated as a means but always as ends. It is certainly a bad sign of common sense to appeal to it as a witness. Our age is the age of criticism to which everything must be subject. Experience may teach us what is, but never that it can. Experience may teach us what is, but never that it cannot be otherwise. Out of the crooked timber of humanity, no straight thing was ever made. The cultivation of reason leads humanity sooner to misery than happiness. Thoughts without content are empty. Intuitions without concepts are blind. Have the courage to use your own reason. That is the motto of enlightenment. Only the descent into the hell of self-knowledge can pave the way to godliness. Rules for happiness. Something to do, someone to love, something to hope for. If justice perishes, then it is no longer worthwhile for men to live upon the earth. If God should really speak to man, man could still never know that it was God speaking. There is no freedom, but everything in the world takes place entirely according to nature. The busier we are, the more acutely we feel that we live, the more conscious we are of life. Experience without theory is blind, but theory without experience is mere intellectual play. The greatest human quest is to know what one must do in order to become a human being. Simply to acquiesce in skepticism can never suffice to overcome the restlessness of reason. Settle for sure and universally what conduct will promote the happiness of a rational being. How then is perfection to be sought? Wherein lies our hope in education, and in nothing else man desires concord. But nature knows better what is good for his species, she desires discord. The enjoyment of power inevitably corrupts the judgment of reason and perverts its liberty. What is more, we cannot do morality a worse service than by seeking to derive it from examples. We can never, even by the strictest examination, get completely behind the secret springs of action. The state of peace among men living side by side is not the natural state. The natural state is one of war. Laughter is an affect resulting from the sudden transformation of a heightened expectation into nothing. In all judgments by which we describe anything as beautiful, we allow no one to be of another opinion. For peace to reign on earth, humans must evolve into new beings who have learned to see the whole first. The public use of one's reason must always be free, and it alone can bring about enlightenment among men. A man finds in himself a talent which, with the help of some culture, might make him a useful man in many respects.
Space and time are the framework within which the mind is constrained to construct its experience of reality. Beauty presents an indeterminate concept of understanding, the sublime and indeterminate concept of reason. Deficiency in judgment is properly that which is called stupidity, and for such a failing we know no remedy. Act only according to that maxim, whereby you can at the same time will that it should become a universal law. But though all our knowledge begins with experience, it by no means follows that all arises out of experience. Things which as effects presuppose others as causes cannot be reciprocally at the same time as causes of these. The main point of enlightenment is man's release from his self-caused immaturity, primarily in matters of religion. In every department of physical science, there is only so much science properly so called as there is mathematics. The understanding can intuit nothing. The senses can think nothing. Only through their unison can knowledge arise. Have patience a while. Slanders are not long-lived. Truth is the child of time. Ere long she shall appear to vindicate thee. It is difficult for the isolated individual to work himself out of the immaturity which has become almost natural for him. It is not without cause that men feel the burden of their existence, though they are themselves the cause of those burdens. All false art, all vain wisdom lasts its time but finally destroys itself, and its highest culture is also the epoch of its decay. The history of nature begins with good, for it is God's work. The history of freedom begins with badness, for it is man's work. What might be said of things in themselves, separated from all relationships to our senses, remains for us absolutely unknown. Genius is the ability to independently arrive at and understand concepts that would normally have to be taught by another person. Innocence is indeed a glorious thing, only on the other hand it is very sad that it cannot well maintain itself and is easily seduced. Morality is not properly the doctrine of how we may make ourselves happy, but how we may make ourselves worthy of happiness. He who is cruel to animals becomes hard also in his dealings with men. We can judge the heart of a man by his treatment of animals. Everything goes past like a river, and the changing taste and the various shapes of men make the whole game uncertain and delusive. Nothing can possibly be conceived in the world, or even out of it, which can be called good without qualification except a good will. All our knowledge begins with the senses, proceeds then to the understanding, and ends with reason. There is nothing higher than reason. A categorical imperative would be one which represented an action as objectively necessary in itself, without reference to any other purpose. Nature is beautiful because it looks like art, and art can only be called beautiful if we are conscious of it as art, while yet it looks like nature. The sacredness of religion and the authority of legislation are by many regarded as grounds of exemption from the examination of this tribunal. The light dove, in free flight cutting through the air, the resistance of which it feels could get the idea that it could do even better in airless space. Self-incurred is this tutelage when its cause lies not in lack of reason, but in lack of resolution and courage to use it without direction from another. Without man and his potential for moral progress, the whole of reality would be a mere wilderness, a thing in vain, and have no final purpose. Religion is too important a matter to its devotees to be a subject of ridicule. If they indulge in absurdities, they are to be pitied rather than ridiculed. A good will is good not because of what it affects or accomplishes, not because of its fitness to attain some intended end, but good just by its willing marriage is the union of two people of different sexes, with a view to the mutual possession of each other's sexual attributes for the duration of their lives. Paying men to kill or be killed appears to use them as mere machines and tools in the hands of another, which is inconsistent with the rights of humanity.